Hello there. Let me see, I need to turn on my video also. Get myself set up here. Okay, so today is going to be like a learning experience. And I wanted to share a lot of concrete examples because this is something I've just been working through like the last many months. It's really about like moving from shadow and into genius is a journey of purification. It is a journey of purifying your divine spirit, right? It's like genius is like your divinity, whereas your shadow is like the lowest expression of your human self. So the whole journey from shadow to genius is purification, which is why we do the shadow alchemy, we do the shadow alchemy, we do the shadow alchemy, because how it purifies you is what eventually get you to get to a place where you could animate genius. So, and once you reach genius, right, it's pure, it's as pure as anything could be. And I mean, divinely pure. It's like the purest God frequency. And what it is different for everybody, right? So what struck me, because in the whole process of me, leaving my mentors or taking a break from my mentors and going out on my own and taking responsibility for creating my own business, I had to, like several times, it's like, look at how have I not stepped up to the job of being the CEO of my business? How have I not taken responsibility? And I knew that genius expression always has like a sharpness to it, right? It's like the sharpness of truth. We talk about the cutting blade of truth, the sharp blade of truth. It's like that frequency, it cuts, right? It's so pure, it's so divinely pure that it's sharp as fuck, and it cuts you from the, it's like shadow is a fog, right? It's like brainwashing. It's like a fog, that a trance almost, that you walk through life in. And genius codes, they have the ability to cut through that fog instantaneously, right? So, which is also, on a very practical level, it's about cutting through the bullshit objections that your potential clients have. And the other part is like that sharp truth, right? It's like people don't know that, but that's what they are dying for. There's so much crap. They know themselves that they are like, they can't see the truth. They're searching for the truth. I mean, how many people do you know who are seekers, right? They're seekers of truth, seekers of God, seekers of truth. So, there's no difference. So people are dying for that sharp blade of truth that just cuts through all the crap, all the shadow bullshit, all the conditions, all the social conventions, all the norms, all the rules, and just exposes the truth. And this can be with words, right? Words are very powerful to convey the truth. But genius codes in and of the self carry the ability to cut that, it's like they're sharp in and of themselves. It's like they're very, very disruptive because they carry like the divine truth, right? So it cannot be otherwise, because your genius is your divine, your highest expression here on this earth is like your divine self. And so what am I thinking here? It's like every single part of your business, if you really want to create a dragon business, which is built around your genius and your genius codes, right? Every single part of it has to be pure genius, meaning every part of it has to be sharp. So what I have been looking at, as I really say, it's like shit, it's like, I have to get better with my branding. It's not sharp enough. It's not sharp enough. So I wanted to share with you some concrete examples of how my branding has evolved as I have like been looking for the sharpness. And as I share these, right, it's like, I will tell you, okay, it's like, this is what my human self really likes, right? This is what I like. It's cozy and comfy and mysterious and it's pretty, and it's not sharp, right? So this is something where I always had to like bring myself into what is the sharpness. And that goes as a whole for everything I write, for everything I put out there. My website, which I'm going to share with you also the process I've been going through to create my website. This has been really, really hard to take that responsibility and begin to upgrade it. And I'm going to share some of these thoughts because I was really, really, really faced with breaking the rules. A gazillion times when I was creating, I kept coming back, okay, so what is the tone of this particular page? I'm putting it up, like I was working on the Dragon Academy. So the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp page, I got finished like maybe a week or 2 ago, or 3 weeks ago, whatever. And then I was, working on the other aspects. It's like, what is the exact frequency of this particular offer? It's like, how can I bring the two in the branding? Like, where is the sharpness? And so, and it's also about, it's like, not from a human thing, right? It's like, what is true to my genius? So I'm going to share some slides that I created for this actually, because I wanted to show you some of my process here for sharing it. Both the good and the bad, right? So, and as you watch this, I want you to notice how you feel. I want you to notice how you feel as you look at each image, because yes, there are words, but sometimes an image, speaks louder than 10,000 words, or an image speaks louder than 1,000 words, whatever the expression is. So I want you to notice, how do you feel, right? Not whether you think it's pretty or not, because it's actually not the job here. I mean, genius never really looks ugly. I always like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But this is not what we're after. We're not after pretty. We're not after something that other people will like. It's not about having other people scroll your post or your website and say, oh, this is so pretty. This is such a beautiful website. This is not what it's about, right? You want to have something that stops them in their tracks and creates an impact. Okay, so we're ready. Let me see, share screen. I'm going to share the screen here. So what you have here, and feel free to ask questions, right? Because this is what I'm here for. The more questions you ask, the more I can answer. The more information you're going to pull out of me. So this one here, I hope you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. This one here is for my Wild Mystique retreat. And this is an image I created for the Wild Mystique retreat in 2021, so last year. And it's not bad, right? It's kind of like a little bit muted, foggy, whatever, but it has the dragons, because the dragon codes are part of Wild Mystique, or part of Meta Mystique. It has the mountain, it is nature, and it has something that makes it seem otherworldly. Now look at this and say, I'm like, yeah, it's okay, looks mystical. How do you manifest money on demand? You do that by not stop animating shadow. You know this, Satori, you know that. You know how to manifest the power archetypes and really get into the warrior and say, I will. And there's no way this is not going to happen. You know this. So you need to stop animating shadow, Stop thinking you're powerless to create these and stop believing you're powerless to create money, because you're not powerless to create money. It's just a decision you make, and then back it up with your unflinching will, right? It's really that simple. I know there's a lot of shadow going into it, which is why the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp is 3 months. And I also have seen that because I have included the shadow euphoria in it, that actually after 2 months, right, it's like miracles are happening for my clients, and just in all areas of life. And now they kind of like unhook themselves. They don't even believe in shadow anymore. They don't fall for shadow anymore, which is so awesome. So now they can really go in and, you know, start freely creating money. So the problem with you, Satori, is that you still believe in shadow. You still believe in shadow. You still give power to shadow. So seriously consider coming into the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp. So coming back to my slide here, the Wild Mystique. This was my first edition. So when I came around this year to doing it, I was just like, yeah, this is not, there's no sharpness in it. It's just like murky, right? So I come back this year and I created this one. And I want you to just see how sharp it is compared to this one. You have them side by side here. So you can see in comparison that I think I need to, what do I need to do? I need to do like this so you can see them better. So you can actually see them, like how murky this is and how sharp, right? This is like, it is very pretty. It has the Italian nature. This is a retreat in nature. And then it has something mystical, right? Because it's Wild Mystique retreat. So it kind of still fits, right? But there's a different tone. There's a very different energy in these two. So now here's another example. This was my first example, or this is my first graphic for the Dragon Academy. And it works, right? I mean, it's very thing, you know, it's like genius is a world of its own. It's your dragon world. It's like you have to be born as a dragon. So the symbolism all fits. But you look at it and say, wow, this is so pretty. And I still think this is really, really beautiful. It's like I really love this image. But there's no sharpness in it, right? It's not sharp. It is not sharp. So compared to this one, which eventually is what I made it into, it's like I did a lot of photoshopping to get this clear. It's like it's a whole different order of magnitude more potent. It's even scary, right? And I deliberately took it's like a scary image, dragon image, because you're about to unleash the monster in you, right? It's like the whole thing about stepping into your genius is to become the dragon, not to slay the dragon, but to become the dragon, right? So I did that deliberately, also because there's something mysterious going on behind it. But this is a very, very powerful image. It is sharp compared to the first version, right? It's like this egg, the dragon in the egg that is all green. It's very pretty, right? It's very pretty. But look at it, it doesn't have the impact you get from looking at the other one. And I have had one person tell me that when she was reading the Dragon Academy sales page, she got nauseous, right? She got nauseous because there was so much power in it. So another example is the Shadow Alchemy lamp. So it has also gone through like a few iterations of the branding. So this was the first one I made, right? Very, very pretty. I was like, yeah, there's something alchemy and there's something mystery and there's something cosmic about it because it's a divine path, right? And I look at it and yes, it's pretty, right? It's like it's cozy, it's comfortable, has a very warm tone to it. But it's not sharp. It's not sharp. I think it's very beautiful. I love that image of the green background. I just love it, right? I think it's so beautiful, so pretty. And it's not it. You know, there's no sharpness to it. It doesn't bring the codes of the lab across. So I created this, which come up like around the Crown of Thorns live stream that I did. This is a bit better, right? I mean, it takes the idea, it sharpens it, you know, still keeps the idea of, okay, so we need to crack the shell, you know, the shell of the dragon egg that is your shadow that keeps you trapped so you can't be born, right? We still have to crack the shell so that you can actually come out, which is like the shadow alchemy, that's cracking the shell. So this is definitely better, but it was still like, as much as I like the idea of the dragon in the egg, it is not the right tone, right? So you can see I'm still creating it from my mind. And genius is not of the mind, it is of the body. It's coming from your bones. It completely bypasses your mind. So I called myself out on the website. I said, okay, I have to nail this. You know, if I want to be a business owner, I have to bring every part of my business up to really, really high standards. And this is something I have never been doing before. I mean, the year where I made like $500,000, I had no website, right? I have never had to rely on a website, but I'm in a very different place now where, okay, I'm in this for the long term. You know, I am going to let go of instant gratification money and really build something that can stay and stay and stay and go and grow and grow, which is a Dragon Academy. So I came up with this one. And I was like looking at this. Okay, so a sword has been around as one of the elements of Metamystique for a long time, because my main channel is like the victim warrior channel. And, you know, the warrior with the sword, you know, the cutting blade of sword. So that has been around a long time. But I looked at this background, you know, like there's like the mystical stone on the left. If you take that away and just look at the background for the sword, I said, this is wrong. This is wrong. This is not my branding color. It's cold. There's no warmth in it. And then, I mean, the sword and the sparks and the background, it was like one image I found on Canva. And then I added the stone because like something has to be added to it. And I tried probably like 20 different things. And then I landed on the stone, which makes zero sense. It makes zero logical sense. And when I had this together, I was like, this is it. This is it. This is the exact tone of the Shadow Alchemy Lab. I was like, boom, everything fell into place. And I can show you how it ended up in here. This, right? This is how it looks. So this was the first page I redid with my new branding. And I am so in love with this, like I can't even tell you. So this hero image here, right? It's like it just does something, right? There's a power, there's an impact to it. And then I created this. So I don't know why all these gear wheels that are rusty gear wheels, right? What does that even mean? What does that even mean? So this is how it ended up. So I might have to redo it again, but for right now, this just works. So then I want to give you another example. So here you have the 3 iterations of it. You know, you have the first one that is like really just to make me stay in my comfort zone, which is really what this is all about, my comfort zone, right? Here I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone, and it's like, but I can't let go. I can't let go of my mental idea of the egg and the dragon. So it doesn't really work. And then I land on this one. And I remember this shift, right? When I landed the true graphics for this was, okay, I just thought, okay, put all my ideas of what it should look like away and give up of all symbolism. What is true? What's the truth of this? And then it took me like, I don't know, less than half an hour to land on this. I mean, you know, I did some tests, but it was really, really quick. Whereas, oh my God, you know, it worked forever. So coming into creating is like you already know what is truth, but the mind is going to interfere, and the mind is shadow, right? I have an attachment to how it's supposed to look to make me feel good, for how I think it should look, which is total shadow, right? Because when you deal with genius, you are submitted to genius. It's not about what you want, it's about you presenting, performing your genius art. It's like you taking the genius codes and living them in your business and elsewhere in your life. So this is like one of the clearest examples I can show you here of how it went from purely what my human likes and kind of feel very cozy and comfortable with, over into something in between when I realized, okay, this is not the right. And I can feel it, right? I can feel it. You can tell when it's right or not right. And coming over to this one where as soon as I was like, this is it. This is it. And I looked at it and was like, that's not to my human taste at all, but it is to my genius dragon taste, right? And I'm in awe of that. I'm in awe of this picture. So another example is my pilgrimage, the Malta Mysteries. So this was the first image I made. So I picked these rocks here because Malta has these like Neolithic ruins that are like 500,000 years old. No, 5,000 years old, not 500,000, 5,000 years old. So I kind of knew there kind of had to be something in there. And then I was like just working on the backgrounds forever and ever, and couldn't really figure one out. So this one was my first choice. And see, again, I have this like green cosmic background because this is what I like as a human, right? This is my personal preference. And of all these pictures, you know, of all these different versions of the Malta Mysteries, this is the one that I personally, as a human self, like the most, right? It's like most to my human taste. But I kind of knew it's like, it's not sharp. It looked pretty, it is not sharp. So I go to this one, right? It's like, yeah, it's a black hole. When we go on these pilgrimages, we go to another world. So I was kind of trying to, trying to find one that gets it. And I was like, yeah, better not sharp. It's not sharp, right? You can feel it. It's better. It's not it yet. And then I came up with this one because then I got, okay, if I take away everything I think it should be, what is the truth? And then I just, okay, it has to be extremely sharp. And then I went into, looking at fractal images, which is the background is, found this ruin, mirrored it, actually the same image twice. And I was like, whoa, there's some real power in this image, right? It is sharp. So here they all three together. Number one, the one my human likes the most. I love it. I think it's so beautiful, right? And there's like in between that it wasn't sharp enough. I didn't personally like it. And then comes to this one here that is sharp as fuck. And I go like, holy shit. And I don't actually think it's pretty. Like this background is not to my personal human taste. I like more like the green thing. But it's it, that's the one. And once you have recognized it, you stop right there because you know when it's the right one, but your human self, like AKA shadow, is going to come in and say, no, not this. What are people going to think about me? And I remember when I made this, like, holy fuck, this is powerful. But what are people going to think? Right? What are people going to think? Are they even going to want to come? And it's like all this in internal chatter, about this. Is it going to work? Is it going to happen? Is it going to, it's like what's going to work here? So, wow. I just had a download out of absolutely nowhere that I think my pilgrimages are actually even more about the archetypes than I thought they were. So I have like my next pilgrimage coming up to Egypt after this one, and I had named it, just instant title, the Sphinx's Eyes, but I actually think it's a blind seer, an oracle trip. Wow. Okay, this one here. So this is kind of the last examples where sort of the before and after. So over the last 5 months, I really experimented with my branding. And I want you to share some of the examples of what is just really, really bad branding. So this one here, this is like very fashionable. It's kind of like very in style. It's very Canva-ish. It's very light worker-ish. And there's nothing special about it, right? I mean, it's just, okay, there's a picture of me. There's no energy in it. There's zero energy in it. But I was, trying it out, because you got to gather the data so that you can see whether it's sharp enough or not sharp enough. And at one point I had made this one. It's like, again, trying to hone in on it. And both as a human, I hate it. And also saying, it's not sharp at all. It's like fake sharp, right? This is what I know. It's like fake sharp. And then this one is just really, really bad, which was the Shadow Alchemy Masterclass. I was still trying too hard instead of just feeling into my body. And it's like, okay, what is the tone of this? I'm still trying. You can see the sword here again with the crown. So I was very much into thinking about the symbolism. But anyway, what this should also tell you is that you actually don't need to have like the perfect branding in order to sell. Because, the masterclass, is still creating sales. But for you to have imperial standards, because if you want a genius business, everything has to be up to the highest, extremely high, supremely high standard of being genius art. And this one here, it is not genius art. So, once I put it up and on my website as a thing, this is going to go. So the next part I wanted to share with you is actually my website, because there was a lot of things that I went through. So I already shared the lab here with you, which is, great. I've never, ever, ever met such, like still in awe of this top here. So I was next working on the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp. So let me get this one for you. Because there was a whole lot of having to overcome my personal preference. And it started with this image. And I was like looking around, okay, so the boot camp, something about soldiers, it's about like really exercising, it's about like slaying your shadows, it's going into war against your shadows. So what is the tone of the boot camp? And I got this image. And said, okay, this is the image that carries the tone of the boot camp. But it's gray and black, right? It's gray and black, not my colors, right? So, and then I submit, okay, so this holds the tone of the boot camp. Now, I also know that Myth and Mystique as a field, it has a certain old, almost medieval vibe. There's like some ruins, there's some exposed old stone walls that you see as a work that are on a background of my some of my graphics. But it has like this old flavor somehow of times gone by. So I wanted to bring that in also, because with my website, right? Because my website is also genius art. It has to reflect the tone of Myth and Mystique. So I wanted to bring that in also. And I think, okay, so I have these frames that I started using, right? And there's just another warrior woman from that same, I see I need to do something about the hero height here. Okay. That it just worked. And then like that raw wall behind it, which is like a very beautiful image I found ages ago. And then I did something. So I don't know if you can see this, like a little line running here between. And this has been there since probably since the beginning, since I did the Metamystique. But then I brought it back here, right? Like this line. And I'd never seen anybody do this before. And I remember it's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't do that. This is not how you create a website. You don't put these lines there. And it's like, sounds so ridiculous when I say it, but we have all been so programmed on what's the way to do it. And I was thinking, you know, it's like, okay, so break the rules, right? Break the rules, break the rules, break the rules, and do it exactly the way that has the sharpest genius and is exactly to your taste. Because this is always, I mean, this is where your euphoria is. And I wanted a website that made me feel euphoric, right? I wanted a website that gave me a lot of pleasure and that would give people a sense of, okay, this is the vibe of my genius. This is the Metamystique world. So I really wanted to get it in. And you can even see, you know, like, I don't know if you have seen it, but the final battle begins. This is from a post I wrote. The final battle begins, because this is it. Like, you have worked on yourself and worked on yourself and worked on yourself and done business coaching and done business programs and business mentors, and you still haven't gotten where you want to go, right? So everything you have done is like, you come here because you are finally ready to fully slay your shadows. No more excuses. No more hoping that something else will work so that you can avoid facing your shadow and actually coming, you know, really, really, really exposing all your shadows, because everything else you have done was kind of like, maybe I don't have to do, you know, to do the work of my shadows. So it's kind of like the final battle, right? It's like a little bit like that feeling. So then I found this from the same series. And I just think it's like, yeah, but the colors, you know, it's like, it's you can't have a picture on that on your website, because people think it's going to be like a movie sales page or a fantasy game or a computer game or for a historical book or whatever. And, you know, again, I had these lines here, right? It's like, you can't do this, you can't do this. This is not how you do a website. I was just saying, you know, break the rules. What feels true for the boot camp? What feels true for Genius? What feels true for the boot camp? And what is my taste? Because there's never discrepancy between what is my taste, not my like my human preferences, because then it would probably have just been more with the green cosmic background. But what feels true, right? And it's like this. I was really resistant to moving over into the brown and gray, no, the black and gray. So, you know, as you can see, there's not much green on this page. So it's like this one, right? It's an awesome picture, but it's like, but there's no mystery in it, you know, there's no mystique in it. But at this point, when you do shadow alchemy, there shouldn't be any mystique in it. It's like, just get up every day and deal with your shadows. And the more you do the shadow alchemy, the more you do the shadow euphoria alchemy, the more you create like these neural pathways that is then going to become a habit, right? You do it over and over and over again, so that eventually this becomes your new, the strongest neural pathways in your brain, so that when shadow comes up, it's just going to be automatically how you deal with them, right? But it takes all the work. There's no mystery in it. There's no coziness. It's just like, be on top of those shadows and slay them and go to war and slay them and go to war, and don't give in to them, right? It's a boot camp. A boot camp is not pleasure. And then I took this picture here, which is still one of my favorite. It's like a rusted, let me see if I can do this. It's like a rusted crown. which always to me, it's just really beautiful and a fit here, right? Because you are fighting so that you can pick up the crown and polish it up and put it on your head as the sovereign. And then, you know, put this ornate frame here because, you know, it just fits, it just fits. And then this castle, right? Because this is kind of the Mythomystique, the Dragon Academy vibe, which is like this big, it's like Hogwarts, right? It's like think of something like Hogwarts. You go into this, and from the very first time I got images from Mythomystique, there was always like this old building, very much like Hogwarts, you know, where people would come and stay. They would stay for a long time, and in this castle, there would be portals to your genius world. Yeah. And then I thought, okay, so instead of having regular pay button, what kind of pay button will make sense for the tone of my genius, of Mythomystique, and for the bootcamp? And I picked these two, right? Pay in full is like you're going for the short payment plan. It's like, okay, you're still holding the sword, you're not actually cutting it. And the cutting here is, of course, your shadows. So I created these just to, you know, and you know, make a spiritual business coaching website like this, but this is my world, and this is what it feels like. So the next page I made was the Steward to Genius. And this part came up really quickly because genius is chaotic, and you know, you're the steward's office, like we bring in the guardians again. But then I was stuck. I couldn't figure it out. So here it comes back into the truth that cuts. So this truth is like this part of the Steward of Genius, which is the second module in the Dragon Academy, is like where you really hone into the sharpest, truest, purest expression of your genius, right? It's like you're sharpening the sword. You're forging the sword of your genius, sharpening it, you know, getting sharper and sharper in every aspect of your business, which is now what this whole Facebook Live here is an example of, you know, where show how that works. It's like, who does this? Like, how can I put an image of this here? And then I had a library, right? Then I have a library. Where, why, how does that even come, right? How can I go from an image like this to a library? It's like these images don't even fit together, except that there's something old about it, right? It's like, shouldn't I have more of this chaos, mystery, genius, portal to genius vibes in it? And this is where I went first, right? But I couldn't, nothing landed as this is it. I put this one in, right? And yes, because it's hard work to forge it, right? To forge that sharp word. It's like, you're going to do it by hand. So yes, that works. And then come with the library. I was like, are you just going to sit and read whatever? But it works, right? It fits the vibe, because the Dragon Academy is a one-year business school that's going to take you from shadow into your genius, into creating your dragon business, right? There's like the school vibe. It's like a one-year business school. Which is also one of the things that happens, is that when you act in your genius, you don't actually quite know what you're creating until you're in the middle of creating the next step. So I didn't start it as a business school, but it's becoming that. And especially the Shadow Alchemy, the first module, you know, it doesn't have to be about business. It might end up being that, but you don't have to come in with it. You can just come in to work on your shadows in general. So I have this library background here, and as you can see, it still persists with this old vibe, right? Because this is what Mythomystique is. It's not modernistic, it's more like old. And then we come back here, and then this image here, the next one, you have no idea. I tried a gazillion images, and in the end, you know, I just put in, said, okay, let me just see if it works. And this is a fractal, right? It's a fractal. And I was like, how does a fractal come in when you have a sword being forged and a library, and suddenly you have a fractal? They don't fit together, the images, right? And my whole thing is like it has to flow, there has to be a theme. And I just left it at this, like, no, this is it. This is it. It fits, it's the right one. I'm just going to stop questioning it, right? And so many times as I went through this, Shadow was saying, no, 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 you can't do it. You can't do it. This is not how you create a spiritual business coaching website. You know, this is not how you do it. This is like for a museum or for a movie or for whatever. And this is also the world of Metamystique, right? It's not an either or. And then when I came down here with this image, I was like, you know, I personally like to go into castles and palaces and see them because they're so interesting. I was like, yeah, right. This also doesn't fit, right? It's like by now I have like the dragons in front of the genius portal, chaos portal. I have the forge. I have the library. I have what was that one? The fractal. And now I have like another one that's completely different. You know, it's like none of it fits together. None of it fits together. And I was like, am I reading this wrong? Am I tuning into it right? And eventually I just left it, right? Because this is the world I want to bring you into. This is like the vibe of Metamystique, but it's also very much like the vibe of the Steward of Genius, second module of the Dragon Academy, because I'm going to take you into a world of luxury and art. Like look at the art, right? It's a presentation of art. And then for the payment button, you know, it's like this one where you go behind the curtain and you know the story from the Wizard of Oz, right? The magic happens behind the curtain. So that was kind of it. So I wanted to show you one more page here because there was something else that went into this also, and that's the Dragon Academy page. So I already talked about this picture. So this is an image I found like quite a long ago, which kind of, again, it's like you're in this old building. It's like the Hogwarts, right? It's old, it's stone, and you kind of come there to study, right? You have to learn. It is not just short-term course, it's long. Because, you know, it takes that much time. And this is also an old picture I have used of the entrance to the Metamystique school, right? Where you'll find your portal to your genius. It's like this building is even in the myth. If you go into my about section, you'll see an image of the dragon with the portals. Like portals are very, very important. And you'll see read under that like the myth of the Metamystique, which was channeled to me. And this is exactly what this image is about. It's like when you enter into the building where mystery awaits. So, and then you will see these where it's just the different ones. And then it came down to this one. So it's like, oh my God, this is an image of a church. It's an image of a church. Why do I want an image of a church when this is not a religion? And I can't actually answer you, except that this image just fits so perfectly. It fits so perfectly here. In that it carries the vibration, it carries the tone of Metamystique. And what I have created here is something that is extremely unique. And for those of you who are watching it, you know, it's like yesterday I posted this video from the Alchemist restaurant where it's like, talk about creating something completely new. You go into a whole new world. Like genius is a world. And what is the world you want to create your clients into, right? It's like dare to be different, dare to break the rules, dare to do things that makes no sense just because it has the right tone, the right codes in it. And then this is what I was doing yesterday. I was like putting this image here. It's like, okay, so we come down to the Dragon Academy. So where do they start? Because you can actually buy, well, you can buy the Dragon Academy of the whole, but it's like for 3 months schedule. modules. And then I found this AI art. I go, I couldn't put some weird horror movie AI art in there. And it just fits, right? It just befits. This is actually a click-through button to the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp because where it starts. I can't do that, but it fits. It fits, right? It makes no sense. It makes no sense, just like this makes no sense. And it fits because it carries that vibration of Metamystique and what the Dragon Academy is all about. So each module of the Dragon Academy, they have a very, very different, a vibe. And you can also see as I go through here, that's more like the boot camp. This is more, where we go into it. And then it becomes more, something completely different because now we're coming in, it's like just underneath the waking dream, which is the last one. It's like now we're going into the mystery. We're going into the genius. We're going somewhere very, very different. It's very, very different from your normal world. And the same with this one, right? It's like an adventure, a quest. It's going into the unknown. It's actually what I feel with this. It's like daring to go into the unknown in an alien place. And your genius is alien. And then I have this one here. So let me just check your, if you have any questions. Great. Gemma, you just got a huge ringing in your ear download. So this was it, guys. I think I'm back to doing weekly Facebook Lives. I have a long list of things I want to talk about, but I wanted to share this one because it is current in my life. This is what I'm going through right now. And this is part of, like knowing how to work with the energy is like what you're going through right now. So the whole thing about sharpening in on your genius, like really getting that purification of being able to take it all the way, right? This is what the second module of the Dragon Academy is going to be about. So Dragon Academy has become a dark business school, which I didn't know when I was doing it, but that's what it's become. And I absolutely love it. I thought I wasn't going to be doing business coaching anymore. And I will, but in a very different format, from a very different place, because everybody that comes into module 2, 3, 4 of the Dragon Academy, they have one hooked from shadow, right? They are not fooled by shadow anymore. They don't indulge shadow. There will still be shadow coming up, but it doesn't run the show anymore, right? Which means that kind of, when people get to this point and you really start working with, we help them with the marketing and the sales and, offers and everything, it's really going to start making a difference. So if you have already worked a lot with Shadow Alchemy, you're totally willing to come into the Steward of Genius second module. If Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp is going to be where you start, like, do it. It's like the most important 3 months of your whole life to come into the Shadow Alchemy Bootcamp. Whether you continue on, that doesn't matter. It's like those 3 months, like give yourself 3 months, invest everything you have in these 3 months, and your life is going to be so fucking different. Like you won't even believe it. Okay. See you soon.